Here we go.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GM. It is your guy, Boulan J. And up next, Burning Questions, the Buyer's Edition. Do me a quick favor as we get started. Hit like. If it is your first time checking out the GM, hit subscribe. Also, hit the notification bell so that you get updates when we upload new content. Let's talk about it. So, the Buyer's Edition of Burning Questions is going to be a trade deadline focused segment where we go division by division and I pick out a team or the team that I think should be a buyer at the trade deadline based on their current record, their situation, and what they may need. So, with no further ado, let's start with the AFC North. I believe the Baltimore Ravens should be a buyer at the trade deadline. All the other teams in the division do have an opportunity to make the playoffs and they do have an opportunity to win this division. But I think the Baltimore Ravens, coming off of a big win Sunday, have the most untapped potential thus far. What I mean by untapped potential, meaning that they have another level that they can get to. And all year long, we've been looking at two primary positions, one defense, one offense, as sort of an area that we may need to upgrade just based on what kind of production we have been getting. And so I think the Baltimore Ravens should be buyers at the trade deadline. I think this is a all-in type of season. I think that this year and next year are going to be the cheapest of Lamar Jackson's uh, contract years. And I think that they have to take an all in approach and put themselves in prime position to go for the championship this year. And with this trade, put them in position to be in contention also next year. I think that the Baltimore Ravens should look at a pass rusher. They should look at a cornerback, and they should also look at a wide receiver. Yes, I did say wide receiver. Yes, I know we have a stockpile of talent, but having a stockpile of talent versus production sometimes can be a little bit of a mystery on who's going to step up on any given Sunday. And so I think that if there is a guy out there who's available who can help us upgrade that wide receiver position, I think we should all by all means go get him. So those are the three positions I think the Baltimore Ravens should look at, and I think they should take an all-in approach and be buyers at the trade deadline. Let's go to the AFC East. Excuse me. I believe that the Buffalo Bills should be and will be buyers at the trade deadline. Okay. The reason why I think the Buffalo Bills versus any other team, the Miami Dolphins have been buyers all year long. They've made tons and tons of moves. The New England Patriots may be in full fledged rebuild mode, and the New York Jets made a big move to bring in a quarterback, and that kind of fell apart with an injury. Although I think something strange is going to happen in New York where Aaron Rodgers is going to show up by the end of the season. I really believe that. Anyway, I think the Buffalo Bills should be buyers and will be buyers because they lost um, the starting corner. I can't remember his name at this point. Had his name in my mind, but I forgot. They lost their starting corner, and Dawson Knox, who's their number one tight end, is going to have surgery if he has not already. And so those are two positions of need and that I believe Buffalo will give some attention to both at cornerback and the tight end position so that they can kind of get themselves back on track offensively and defensively, especially after losing to the New England Patriots on this past Sunday. So stay on the lookout for what Buffalo does at the trade deadline. All right, let's jump to the AFC West. Okay. Now, this division is a little bit tricky only because the Kansas City Chiefs have just made a trade, brought in Miko Hardman. Their defense is playing really well, and their offense looks pretty solid. So I'm gonna go with the not San Diego, forgive me, the Los Angeles Chargers. I think the Los Angeles Chargers will be buyers in some fashion at the trade deadline, only because they keep stumbling and fumbling all over themselves. They need somebody in the leadership category to step up and be a voice for this team. And so I think that they could certainly be buyers at the trade deadline. And I think they may even shift the other way depending upon what happens this Sunday before the trade deadline in week number 8 for the Chargers. But keep your eye on Kansas City. I think Kansas City may have another trick up their sleeve to kind of add to um, their offensive potency. There could be another wide receiver out there that they could go poach from another team. So I think Chargers could be a buyers for sure, but I'd say keep your eye on the Kansas City Chiefs. And then with the last uh, division in the AFC, I'm gonna go, which is the AFC South. Excuse me. I'm gonna go with the Houston Texans. The Tennessee Titans are probably at the point they're going to blow it all the way up. They're not going to win a championship with Derrick Henry. They got rid of both their best wide receivers a couple of seasons ago. And Ryan Tannehill doesn't look like the answer for sure at the quarterback position. They have two young guys on the roster that they need to give a chance to kind of see what they can really do with Will Levis and Malik. Will Levis and Malik. Uh, Will Levis and Malik Willis, excuse me. And so I think they're going to be in rebuild mode. They're going to be sellers probably. Um, Indianapolis has a young quarterback who's going on IR. Well, he's already on IR. I don't think they expect to win a championship with Gardner Minshew leading the way. So I don't think they're going to go all in. But the Houston Texans need a little life in Houston, and with CJ Stroud playing amazing as a rookie quarterback, them being in position to kind of move into the lead of that AFC South, I think Houston could be a big time player at the trade deadline if they're going to try and make a little bit of noise to get into the playoffs and see what they can do. So look for the Houston Texans to be buyers in the or at the trade deadline. I don't think Jacksonville is going to be a player. They made a ton of moves over the last couple of years, bringing in talent. So I think they're settled. So I think Houston is the team in the AFC South. Let's jump to the NFC. In the NFC South, I think the Atlanta Falcons could be a buyer at the trade deadline. Right now, they're leading that division, and every other team in that division is kind of just on the struggle bus, so to speak. The Carolina Panthers are 0-6. They're already out of contention in any kind of sort for the for the NFC South title and or the playoffs. The New Orleans Saints, they just suspended um, Chris Olave, so their number one wide receiver is gone, I think. And then Derek Carr has been injured. And then Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I'm not sure what they are with Baker Mayfield, but I know that the Atlanta Falcons lead that division, and they could certainly go get a couple of pieces and um, put themselves in position to make the playoffs. So I think Atlanta is the team to watch in the NFC South. In the NFC East, um, I'm probably going to go with the Dallas Cowboys. The New York Giants have been a mess all year long. Daniel Jones has been injured. Saquon Barkley has been injured, and he's also on a trade block from what I can see, or at least some trade rumors. When it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, they've been making moves for the last couple of years, so they're probably going to be pretty set. I don't see them making a whole lot of moves at the trade deadline, and they just made a move where they added a safety from the Tennessee Titans, actually a really good safety from the Tennessee Titans. And so I think it's going to be the Dallas Cowboys. I don't think Washington is in any kind of position to make a whole lot of moves. Not because they don't want to, but just because they're not in position as far as playoff contention or title contention to really, be buyers at the trade deadline. So it's the Cowboys. Cowboys have a really nice defense, have a really nice offense, and I think they may go out and add a piece or two to try and put themselves in prime position to be a top two seed in that NFC race and see if they can make some noise in the playoffs. So I'm looking at the Dallas Cowboys as a buyer as the trade deadline approaches. Let's jump to the NFC West. I think it's going to probably be the San Francisco 49ers. Now, they made a lot of willing and dealing over the last year or so at the quarterback position, running back position, so on and so forth. But San Francisco has fallen on hard times, and so they may look to upgrade or boost a position of need as the trade deadline approaches. They are still near the top of the NFC, and I think they're still leading their division. But I think with some current struggles, they may look to upgrade a couple of positions. So I think they may be buyers at the um, trade deadline. Not saying that the other teams may not need something. Seattle and the Rams and Arizona. Arizona is definitely tanking for sure. They need to be because I think they're going to try to get off Kyler Murray. So I don't see them really making a move. I could see them actually getting off of Buda Baker at the trade deadline this year for sure. But anyway, so that's what I'm looking at in the NFC West, and then in the NFC North. I think that the Detroit Lions may be a buyer. The Detroit Lions came in to Baltimore on Sunday and got their heads busted. And so they may not be what they thought they were. I could see Detroit maybe trying to add a wide receiver. I could see them maybe trying to add something defensively, another playmaker on the defensive side of the ball. And so I see Detroit in that division being the buyer. I think Chicago is definitely not sold on their quarterback position, so they're definitely not going to be buyers to put some stuff around Justin Fields, who's hurt right now. I think the Green Bay Packers, who started off hot, have kind of landed the plane already pretty early. So I don't think they're going to be buyers. In fact, they could get off a couple of pieces probably. And so I think it's going to be Detroit. And Minnesota got a big win last night, but I don't think they're trying to do anything, especially with Justin Jefferson on IR. So um, Detroit. So listen, that's my tour around the league of buyers at the trade deadline. Stay tuned for the sellers edition. I'm going to identify all the teams who could be sellers. I'm your guy Boulanger. This is the GM, and we are out.